Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Rosenthal. I'll be your teacher, or whoever joins us. I'll be the teacher of Nafshi. We'll try today to look over everything that we're going to study this year. But first of all, tell you a bit about myself. Originally, I'm a social worker and a community worker. And somewhere about 30 years ago, when I started studying Kabbalah and Hasidus, my whole view and perception of psychology and therapy started changing because the more I learned about Kabbalah and how our soul is built and what we're here for and why this creation is created for, I started realizing that we're missing the basic essence of what we're aiming for in therapy. Basically, not all of psychology, but a very big part of psychology focuses on the self and how to become a better self and to be who I am and to have the most wonderful world for myself and how to build my own self-reassurance and basically everything revolves around me. And especially in the last years, everything revolves around the I. And basically, we're missing a lot here. I'll give you a parable on it. Imagine someone received a new fighter plane from his uncle, but he doesn't know what a plane is, and he parks it in his parking lot, and it's a bit too big for the parking. And he goes to the grocery store, and on the way he bumps through all the different poles and street lights and everything. And it's very uncomfortable to drive this big thing to the grocery store. And then to find parking in the grocery store is even worse. So he comes back home and he chops off the wings and he chops off the tail. And now it's small and comfortable and he can find parking easily. And basically, you'll never be able to use the plane for what it was meant to be used for. And for sure, he won't be able to fly this thing anymore. Now, the same thing we do with our own soul, where if we don't know what is the soul supposed to do here in life, why we came here. I mean, we had a lovely time up in heaven, and everything was really good and nice. And suddenly we came down here to Earth, and what for? I mean, I wasn't asked to be born, so why am I here? Who wants me to be here? What am I here for? And if I don't know the answer to these questions, then really, what are we doing here? And our soul is built from incredible particles, whether it's first of all, we have our body, we have our human soul, and we have our divine soul. Why are we built out of these three things? What's the purpose of each and one of them? Why do I need the body? Why do I need a human soul? Why do I need a divine soul? What does it mean to have a divine soul at all? And is there any correlation between my different parts and the fact that I'm here? Is there any goal for me to be here? Now, if I don't know what's the goal in life, and if we don't know where we're heading for, and what are we supposed to become, if we need to become anything, if we need to evolve into anything, or just to live life and pass, and every day passes, and just to let me get through life, basically. And if I'm there in this position of trying to get through life, then I'm really not enjoying life. And I really don't know what's this story of all this humanity thing is. So if I don't know what's the aim and what's the target, what's the goal of my soul and what's the goal of being here, then if I come to psychology and therapy, then what am I fixing? What am I changing? What am I helping the person if I don't know what's the goal of every single part of him? And one of the main things we like to study and we'll go over in the course is what is the soul? What is the divine soul? What's the difference between the divine soul and our human soul? Is there a purpose in life? And if there is a purpose in life, how do I get to that purpose? And basically, I'll take you from the beginning, um, with a small bit of it at least. When God decided to create the world, it was for a good reason. He didn't do it just because he was really bored with himself and he just had nothing to do. And he said, okay, let's create some human beings so I can just amuse myself. Of course, there's no reason for him to amuse himself because he was everything. But there is a good reason why he decided that he needs to have humans. And the Arizal, I'll have to know, some of you probably heard of the Ari and some don't, but he was one of the greatest Kabbalistic rabbis in all generations. And he says, the reason God created the world, our reality, is so he could do good to his creation and to the beings he created. Basically, he wanted a relationship with someone. So he had to create this someone, which was first Adam Arishon, the first man, and then there's the whole humanity. And the reason he wants to have this relationship is so he can do good, so he can bring us to the top of joy and pleasure and happiness. And that was the first reason for creating all of this thing called reality. But if God decided that he wants to have humans and want them to have pleasure and joy, well, I look at humanity today and I see most of us living life, passing every day. A lot of us are suffering and we don't see this end point. We don't see this joy which is promised to us, and that Arizal said that we ought to get there. So why haven't we gotten there yet? What is the thing we need to do in order to get there? I mean, all of us are looking for joy. All of us I don't think there's anybody in the world that doesn't want to be happy and joyous and have good relationships with everybody around him. So why aren't we there? And relationship between, or what's the connection between the fact that I have a divine soul, a godly soul, and a human soul and a body? What's that has had? Is there any reason for this to be here so I can get to this joyous place? So we want to see what's the relationship between my godly soul and divine soul and my human soul. Is there any way to connect between the two? Or maybe they are connected. And how do I get to the connection? How do I build a good relationship between these two things? These are basic questions that we'll like to head for in the beginning of the course. And basically, they'll follow us all the way to the end of the course of why do we need humanity? Why do we need other people? Why was I brought to this world to be with a group of people? If God wants me to be happy and wants to give me goodness, then he can just give goodness to me. I can be a single person. Why do I need the whole of humanity in order to come to the joyous place where he wants me to be? So just keep these questions in mind. We'll try to retouch them later on. The last period that Israel and the Jewish nation was going through was a very difficult time. And I mean, on Simchat Torah, we moved from one of the top of happiness of our holidays, and we shifted straight into war, into a mini Holocaust. I don't even know if to call it a mini Holocaust. And the horrendous things we went through, and the people that were there in the Nova Party, and the people that were living in the South, they're going through hell. And it was hell for everybody. I assume that also the ones of you that live abroad also didn't have the best of times. And it's because someone hurt the heart of the Jewish nation. And I mean, there's a lot of sorrow and there's a lot of fears that came out and a lot of anxiety that came out. And it's not easy. I don't want to totally go into it right now, but it's it's a hard time, and it's hard for all of us to go through what we're going. But on the other hand, we could see incredible things that happen. I mean, the unity of the Jewish people, both here in Israel, and the incredible support that we received from all our brothers and sisters living abroad. And I think for the first time in the whole of history, maybe since Matan Torah, since we got the Torah on Mount Sinai, I think it's the first time that we got a glimpse and a small touch of what is this love that resides between the people of Israel. For the first time, you could feel the real unity, to really feel that we're one family. And I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how you're feeling it abroad or the ones of you that are here with us in Israel, but it's an incredible feeling. It's the first time that I could really feel we are one. We are one family, and we're a loving family. And you could see all the support, the mutual support between people, and having the people that were evacuated from the south, and now we also have all the people that are evacuated from the north. And to see all this incredible help, the incredible caring for one another, which I've never seen before, not in to this extent. And so we could also see incredible things that happened to us as a nation, Jews. I think it's not only Jews. I think something happened to the world since Simchat Torah, and it's an incredible change. Although on the other hand, we could see all this anti-Semitism abroad, which, at least for my friends in New York, I know is it's not easy, and especially the ones that are in different universities and the things they keep hearing from people who are anti-Semites. It's not easy. And here we live in Lima is located in a small village called Oregonuz, which is just on the it's about 3 miles away from the border. I mean, we're the last frontier. The rest of the villages north from us were evacuated, and we're basically the front line now towards the Lebanese border. And living here under bomb shellings the whole time, and sirens going up and down, and having the missiles going out towards Lebanon, and having all the airplanes and the helicopters roaming around your head the whole day long. And basically, we're living in a war zone. And it's not easy. It's frightening sometimes. Um, but we're feeling that we're going through something incredible. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a challenging time, but you feel that something is happening to us, something is happening to the world. And in the beginning, we didn't even, when everything started and hell broke through, we didn't know whether we should open this year. I mean, we had the idea of opening Nafshi, which is basically, it's a course that we were already giving for the last 8 years here in Lima in Hebrew. And now for the first time, we decided that we are going to open it in English for English speakers that are not able to do it in Hebrew. And I mean, I'll tell you a bit about the course soon in a minute. But we had the dilemma: should we open? Shouldn't we open? I mean, people are not. Who has the free mind now to sit and study anything? I mean, nobody was really free to do anything. I mean, all our hearts and mind was on what's going on, and is the war gonna break, and what's gonna happen with all the people that are evacuated, and what's with the our brothers and sisters that are kidnapped and are still now over 3 months later. I don't know, how long are we? They're still there. They're still there and somewhere in the midst of Gaza, and God knows what's going on with them, and how are they feeling, and how are they surviving, if they're surviving at all. And it's our brothers and sisters. And so for us emotionally, it was very difficult to say, okay, we're going to open. But time passed on, and then we realized that we have to open. We're obligated to open because the things that we're learning here are the things that can help people regain stability, regain assurance, and the feeling of safety in their own lives, in the world in general, and regain their inner anchor and to regain life. I mean, a lot of people now, at least here in Israel, are going through horrendous times of anxiety and pressures and fears. And you can imagine what it's like. And especially people that were evacuated and our families that have different people that are kids and uncles and sisters and brothers and parents that are still kidnapped and being held hostage in Gaza. Basically, it's not an easy time. And what we're going to learn here, hopefully in the next year, are things that are going to give us back and help us regain our reassurance, our belief, our inner security, our feeling of being secure, our ability to trust God again. I don't know if you heard it or not heard what I said before, but one of the basic things we're going to learn in the beginning of the course is that everything that happens to us, there's a reason why it happens. Nothing happens for no reason. And the one person, if the one entity that does it all is God. And not only that, he's the only one that does everything. Every single situation that happens to us, that happens to me individually, and it happens to us as the whole of humanity or the whole of Israel or the whole of the Jewish nation, everything that happens because God decided it's going to happen. So how can I put together these two facts that we just went through a Holocaust? We went through a huge Holocaust a few years back, and now we have this Holocaust that we went through on Simchat Torah. And how can I explain it to myself? How can I explain it to others that these horrendous and terrible things that happened to us, God did it. He's to blame. Okay, I don't know what it's like abroad, but in Israel, we're always looking who to blame. Oh, it's because of the government. It's because of the president. It's because of this and that chairman. It's because we're looking who should we blame? Who can we blame for this horrendous thing that happened? And it's a human thing. We try to blame other people for everything that happens to us in life. Even if the hammer fell off the table and fell on my foot, I'm still trying to figure out who I should blame for it. And if it's me to blame for it, then I'm really in a difficult situation. So first of all, we're going to learn that everything that happens, God did it. He did it, and he did it for a good purpose, because God is the source of all goodness. And all he really wants for us as humans, and especially for the Jewish nation, because the Jewish nation is his beloved child, and he loves us so much, and he cares for us so much, and he really cares for us so much. So if he really cares for us, and he really suffers with us, why should he do something so awful to us? It doesn't correlate. There's no way we can put these two things together. So something so horrendous, it's very difficult. But even the small things, my small troubles, we all have our small troubles and our big troubles, and people who are going through divorces, or the kids, their own kids slip away and they can't control their kids, or they're disconnected from their kids, and people being fired from their jobs. And we all have our small or big issues that really trouble us in life and make us miserable and make us go through sufferings. And how do I relate it to the fact that God is doing it? Because every single situation that happens to me in life, he's the one standing behind it. So if he's the one standing behind it, I need to find a way to realize it, to see it. And if he's doing it for a good cause because he loves me so much, I need to find a way to understand what's the good cause behind these things that happen to me and happen to us. So that's one of the main things we're going to go through this year, is to try to encompass these ideas and understandings to our own small lives of every each and one of us. And that's one of the reasons why we realize that we have to start and open, reopen the course, especially the course also in English now, because people need it. People need to come to a place where they could trust God again and come to a new relationship with Him, understand why things are happening to us. People need to have their safe ground. People need to have their find the way to their own inner resources. And we have so incredible, we have an incredible treasure within us, and we have incredible resources within us, and we need to learn how to tap into these resources that can give us livelihood and vitality and joy and happiness. And especially at these sad and dark and hard times, that's the number one thing we need to find is life and joy in life and happiness in life. I mean, we always need it. Everybody wants to be joyous and everybody wants to feel love in his life and everybody wants to be happy in life. It's something we always want. But at these days, we need it even more. So we said, okay, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if we're under bomb shellings up here in the north. We're going to open it. And so even if during the course you'll hear some bomb shellings and some sirens in the background, we'll try to keep on giving the course and not to stop it in the middle. Because I don't know if you've heard it before, but we are here in the middle of a war zone. So it's very challenging to do the course under a war zone, but hopefully we'll be able to do it. So these challenging times actually put a challenge in front of us, and to really open the course and to really do it now, because we need it, the people in Israel need it, and people abroad told me that they need it. So we're doing it and we're opening it. So what are we going to study? I'll give you a small story to try to convey what we're going to try to do. There was a story about a small village where there was a man called Jacob, and Jacob was known to be the most good-hearted person in the whole village, and everybody loved him, and he was always doing good to everybody. And one day, Jacob was put on trial and for the accusation of murder. And the trial was held, and the next day, the headlines of the paper said, the judge said that Jacob is guilty. Everybody that read that said, it's impossible. He surely didn't do it. Something's wrong here. That someone paid the judge, something is utterly wrong. So they all went to the judge's house, and they started a small riot in front of the house, and a demonstration with flags and signs saying, let Joseph free, etc., etc. And at some stage, the judge came out and they said, what's this riot about? And they said, it said in the paper that you said that Joseph is guilty. Said, that's what I said? I didn't say such a thing. I didn't write the paper, but surely I didn't say Joseph is guilty. I said, Joseph? I said, Jacob. Jacob is guilty? That's what I said. I asked, is Jacob guilty? That's impossible. We all know Jacob. We know Jacob didn't murder. Jacob can't even hurt a fly. So I asked, Jacob is guilty? So why am I saying this? Because you see that the tonation of how you say things changes the whole meaning of what happened and the meaning of what I'm trying to convey. Now, in the Torah, um, in the Bible, every sentence is built out of letters, and then we have the vowels that tell us how to pronounce the letters and how to pronounce the word. And then we have something called te'amim. Te'amim in English would be the taste of things, but te'amim really mean to give the right tonation to the whole sentence, because as we saw, we can change the whole meaning of the sentence according to the tonation and the way we say the sentence. And not only that, the Kabbalah teaches us that the tamim, the taste of the sentence, is basically the soul of the sentence. So every sentence in the Torah has its own soul, and we need to bring through the soul of the sentence. Why am I explaining all this? Because the same way in life, we go through situations, and if we don't have the soul, if we can't touch the soul of the situation, if we don't understand why things are happening, what's the reason? So a good sentence like Joseph is guilty, we change it into Joseph is guilty. Okay, we change things. Something bad happens to me, and I say, "Oh, life is bad. God is bad. It shouldn't happen to me. Things shouldn't go this way. It's unfair. It's not true. It's not good." Or we say that life is a jungle. We have to struggle for life through life. Or sometimes it's things that I say about myself. Oh, I'm a total failure. If I couldn't do this and that, then I'm a failure and there's no point in life. All these sentences that I just said, which are basically our worldviews and our personal perspective of ourselves, they color our lives. They color the way we feel in life, the way I feel with myself, the way I feel with other people. It gives an interpretation to things that happen to me. And usually, and what I can tell you from at least the last 30 years of therapy, most of these perceptions and life views are totally wrong. They have nothing to do with reality. So there is reality, and there's a real reality, there's a true reality, and there's the reality that I perceive. And the reality that I perceive sometimes is totally disconnected from the real reality. And it's disconnected because of the way that I perceive things. I'll give you another example. A few years back, someone came in for therapy, and he was going through a really hard time. It was just after he had a business that went bankrupt. Yeah, was his own. He was working in computers and computer programming, and his business went bankrupt, left him with debts of a few millions. Then the next thing that happened to him, his son, his only son, died from an illness. And after that, his wife decided to divorce him. So basically, when he came in for therapy, he was totally wrecked. He had no point in life. He basically came in and wanted me to give it to give him a note saying that he can commit suicide. And I said, I'm not going to give you this this pleasure of committing suicide. And basically, for a few months, we started building his hope, his belief that he can start again, and give him the power to restart life again. And slowly he started, he went back. First of all, he didn't want to even go out of bed. I mean, there was no point. Why should I go out of bed? Life is miserable and life is hell. Why should I go out of bed? There's no point in life. So we started rebuilding him, or I gave him tools to start rebuilding his life. And at some point, he managed to find a new job, and he was employed now. He wasn't a self-made man, but at least he had something to wake up in the morning and start going to work and come back from work and starting to have a basic routine life, just to go back to life. That was our first aim. And after a while, he met someone, and after another some more months, they got married, thank God. And but one of the things that he realized that start happening to him is that he each time he bumps into someone who's telling him how hard a time he's going through, and people started telling him their troubles, and he said to them, "This you call this trouble? You call this a hard time? You know what I went through? I had a bankruptcy. I had my child is dead, and my wife divorced me. And you know what I went through? Well, it's kindergarten, the things that you're going through." And the more he had these conversations, more and more people started to come over to him and basically ask him to teach them how to go through life. How can we face life? How did you rebuild yourself? How did you gain trust again? How did you gain belief again? Where did you get your hope and the power to stand up again? So he started teaching them. And from one conversation to another conversation, they asked him to open a workshop, and then he opened a workshop, and then the workshop grew, and then he opened another workshop and another workshop. At some stage, he didn't have time for his regular work where he was employed, and he left work. And all he does, as far as I know until now, is giving these workshops. And at some stage, I met him after he was going through all these workshops that he was giving. And he said, "Daniel, now I realize what's my purpose in life." He said, "Now I know that I came here to this world in order to help people through these workshops." He says, and looking back to what kind of a person I was before, says it's a puzzle. Why didn't my wife divorce me earlier? Why did she wait so long until she divorced me? Because I was uncommunicative. I didn't have any feelings. I didn't know how to show feelings. I didn't know how to respond to her feelings. I didn't feel her. I didn't feel what she was going through when she was living with me. He had to go through all these things to start realizing who he is and to start connecting to his feelings and to realize that he has abilities to listen to other people and care for other people and feel other people. All these things he couldn't realize before. He couldn't touch these things before. And only through going through the horrendous things he went through, that's what made him touch himself and realize who he is and the incredible abilities that he has within himself. So these are the kind of things we want to learn in our course, basically how to touch these things within us, how to learn who we are. Now, I started saying all this because we said that basically we color our reality to the different worldviews we have, the different perceptions we have about ourselves and others, and why am I here and why are things happening to me? And these perceptions are wrong. And we'll want to see the connection. Each perception basically is the thing that creates our emotions. We'll learn much more deeply about it, what's the relationship and how it happens. But basically, when something happens to me and I say it's bad or it happens because life is a jungle, basically I'm telling myself that I have no control over things that happen to myself. If I'm saying that I'm a failure, then I'm saying basically there's no hope. And if we want to start feeling better in life, and if we want to start coming to a place where we feel good with ourselves and feel good with other people that are we live with and feel good about life in general, then we need to start learning how to change our perceptions. But before that, we need to realize what are the perceptions that are running me from the inside. If I don't know what's running me, if I don't know what are my worldviews, how am I looking at life? Why am I feeling negative feelings when I'm going through different situations? And what are the perceptions that are causing these emotions to arise within me? If I don't know these things, how do we want to come to a place where I feel better? How do I want to come to a place of joy? So we want to come to a place of joy. We want to come to a place where we know who we are and to how to change and fix or clean in our the way we call it. We learn the whole cleansing process, how to clean our perceptions, or at least the place which is wrong within our perceptions, the place which is non-truth in our perceptions, and how to bring ourselves to a healthier view of life and to a place where our divine soul could do what it needs to do here. One of the reasons we call the lesson Nafshi, actually, it's a name that my Rebbe, Reb Scheinberger, um, gave to the course. And Nafshi is taken from it's taken from a few places, but the place that he mentioned is taken from the scrolls of Esther, Megillat Esther. And in the scroll of Esther, there's a sentence, I'll say it in Hebrew first. She says, when she goes to the king and she asks him, Nafshi b'shelati ve'ami b'vakashati. She says, I'm begging you, I'm asking you, she says to the king, I'm asking you to give me back my soul and to what's the word in English for it? Basically, I want you to give me my own life and not to kill me. And I want you not to kill my people. And after that, she says, after she sings, I want my soul and I want my people and I want them to live. She says, if I don't have my people, if you're going to kill all my people, all the Jewish nation, there's no point to my life. Now, what's the connection? Okay, so they'll die, and you'll be the only descendant of the Jewish people, and you'll start a new Jewish family from Queen Esther. You'll be the beginning. What's the problem with that? Why is she saying that I can't live without my people? There's no point in life without me having my people. Now, basically, what she's referring to is there's a reason why the Jewish people are here in reality. Why did God create the Jewish nation? Now, as we said, the Jewish nation or the reason for the creation is because God wants to do good. And not only that, God created this creation so it'll be a godly creation. A godly creation means a creation where people are loving to each other and caring to each other, and people are united and they live in peace and basically world peace and harmony, as we call it. That's one of the aims and goals of humanity. And that's one of the aspects of having a godly life, a godly reality. And that's where we're supposed to get to. But how is humanity going to get to it? So the sages teach us that the people of Israel, the Jewish nation, is supposed to be light for all nations, light for all humanity. And Queen Esther basically said, if I don't have the Jewish nation, who is going to be light for the whole of humanity? Who is going to teach humanity how to become better people, more loving people, more caring people, how to come to unity and oneness? She says, if there's no Jewish nation, nobody's going to be the light to the world. So those are the main things we want to come and touch and tap into. It's what's this light? How do the people of Israel, or how do the Jewish nation, how do humanity come to this place of being a lightened up reality, a lightened up humanity, a loving humanity? How are we supposed to reach this goal? But that's a very far away goal. In order to reach that goal, first of all, do I have any light? Do I have any light to shine to other people? Is there any goodness within me that I can give to other people? Is there any good way that I can light up the way to other people? So in order to reach that place where I can be a light to other people, First of all, I need to know how to light my own light within me. How? Where? What's the buttons that we need to press on in order for this inner light to start shining? Now, every one of us has an inner light. Every one of us has a godly, divine soul. And one of the main things we want to learn is, how do I connect to my godly soul? I mean, I just know a human reality and I know I'm human, but godly? What makes me godly? What's this godly part? What's this godly business and what it has? What's it got to do with me? And what's it got to do with shining our own light? So that's the main place we want to get to, is to shine this light and light this light within me, and to realize that I need this godly soul within me, and I need to learn what's blocking my godly soul, my divine soul, from shining within me. Because the minute the godly soul starts to dwell within me and starts to shine within me, my whole life changes, my whole perception of life, my whole feeling of myself, my inner worth. I don't need, when I'm godly and I'm my godly soul, I don't need any reassurance from the outside. I don't need anybody to tell me that I'm good or great or nice or whatever. I feel my goodness within me. I don't need outer reassurance. So we want to come to a place where I don't need the outer world and other people in order to feel love and loved and happiness and goodness and all the great attributes that we're all longing for. Because all these attributes are within me. And the one problem is that we think that we need to receive them from other people. Now, in a minute or in a few minutes, we're going to call in one of our graduate students to tell you what she went through and what's the process that she went through. But so many people say to us that from the minute that they started realizing how to start cleansing themselves from within and how to enable basically their godly soul to start shining within them, their whole life changed. Their relationship with other people changed. Their relationship with their spouses, the wife, the husband, the kids, everything started changing without them trying to change anybody else. The only thing we want to learn how to change is to change ourselves, how to make ourselves better people. That the minute we start changing our perceptions and we start cleaning all the different blockages that we have within us that block God's light from shining within us and our divine soul from shining within us, when we start cleaning these blockages within us and we start to connect both to God and to our divine soul, everything, every aspect in our reality starts changing. The way we encounter things change. The way we understand things that happen to us change. So that's the number one. I don't know if the number one, maybe it's two or three already, that we want to learn is how to do these things that can really change every single person's reality. Because people say to us that our students, our graduates say that they don't know how they lived life before that, but for sure now they started living life. Before that, they were dead. They were going through a life that has no point, and there was no point to anything. Now, one of the things, it's not that my life is going to be all lovey-dovey and everything's going to be great from now on and no difficult times are going to happen to us. We're still going to have difficult times. But the question is, how do I go through these difficult times? How do I understand it? And as I said before, how do I understand that God is giving me this hard time now? One of the things we want to see is that every difficult situation we have in life, it's not a difficult situation. It's an incredible opportunity for us. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to become more and more of what we're supposed to be. It's an opportunity and another door that we can open for our divine soul. Now, I mentioned a lot, excuse me a second. I mentioned a lot about basically starting to live in God's reality and in our godly reality and to become more godly. And it's very important for me to convey to you that it has nothing to with it has nothing to do with being religious. Okay, when we're talking about being godly and living in a godly reality, it doesn't mean to live in a religious reality. God is not religious. Okay, I've never seen God as a religious person. And surely I don't think he's ultra orthodox or anything of the sort. God is God. God is godly. And being godly, of course, doing the mitzvahs and the things that Jewish people do, um, helps us connect in even higher levels to God. But it has nothing to do with living a godly reality. So you don't need to be religious in order to live a godly life. You need to be godly in order to live a godly life. So we want to learn how to be godly and how to create this godly reality here in our personal small community, whether it's our family or our community or our nation, whatever. But how do I start changing my life to being a great place, to change my life to becoming a wonderful life, and to feel good with myself and to feel good with all the people that are around me. How to stop blaming other people for things that happen to me. Because if you really want to blame him, because he's the source of everything. How to better my relationship with him, whether I'm religious or not religious. By the way, I don't think I'm religious. Am I religious? I'm not religious, right? No, I'm not religious. I only look like it. But so we want to learn how to better all our relationships, whether it's the relationships going up to him and whether it's the relationships around us. And for that, we need to start being true with ourselves. Okay, our complete course package in Nafshi, the Jewish Path to Emotional Healing. I don't even think it's emotional healing, but you'll learn about it. First of all, complete first year training program. There's 27 lectures and facilitated group practice sessions and 3.5, which in all is 3.5 hours. Basically, we're going to teach about an hour and a half. In most lessons, we're going to teach about an hour and a half, and then we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to have group sessions, which is basically like a workshop where we're going to practice the different things we learned in the lesson. So if we learn how to start observing ourselves and observing what's happening in our emotions and our perceptions. So we're going to practice it in the groups. And by the way, the group is something which gives us so much energy, so much ability to do things. I mean, we're going to go and delve and see what's there, who's running the show within me. And when I hear other people and what they see within themselves, and when we start learning that life and reality is basically like a mirror which emanates back my inner reality. And so, first of all, I'm just giving you another concept we're going to study about. Uh, wait, what's the relationship between the outer reality and my inner reality? What's the relationship between the fact that my neighbor's dog did something to my grass and you're saying it has to do something within me? So many things in the beginning will be difficult for me to see the relationship between outer reality and inner reality. But when I start seeing other people in the group and start hearing their stories and what they see outside and where they see the connection, I start realizing, wait, it's real, it's true. So the group is a great source um, for strengthening, for visioning, for having the ability to see things, for to have a clear view, and especially to go through times where sometimes it'll be times of trouble. And to have a group that helps you learn, helps you study, and you study with them and you go with them through the process, you have people that are there for you, and it's a very important thing of having a group. Um, we are going to have a weekly facilitated group instruction session, which is another workshop basically, or an added workshop where we're going to go delve deeper into things. So basically, you have two group sessions or two workshops. One is connected to the lesson, and another one is going to be on another time for each group. Theoretical and practical training. Okay, we already said it. Exclusive access to lectures, lecture recording via state-of-the-art digital learning system. Who wrote these words?
Yes, too much more to explain.
Basically, all the lessons are going to be recorded. So if you miss a lesson, if you were sick or whatever, or you were out, or you were, I don't know, a soldier fighting somewhere and you missed the lesson, then the lesson is going to be recorded and you'll always be able to go back and see the lesson. You're not alone. Thoroughly developed year-long I need to change
Personal
my
programming, install knowledge and tools.
What did you want to say there?
It's not really me. But to wrap it up, it's gonna be the class. It's gonna be the Rab Rosenthal. It's gonna be the Manchim. We have Ben Bejurano with the
Yeah,
guys, and then Michal Shira
we
with
have
the.
two guides for the group. One is, for now, it's Ben Bejarano for the men, and Michal Shira is going to be the guide for the women. And we'll see how many men and women we have. If it's going to grow, then we have a few more guys that are going to join us.
So through with them and the fellows from the class, you're gonna grow up together, and you fulfill the best year ever you had in your life.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, this is my mission to see in the end of the year at least 100% of you saying that it was the best year, or even not the best, one of the most best years ever in your life.
Life-changing.
Life-changing, like the class said, and she said, well, we're paying her, but she said,
I hate words like life-changing, but it is life-changing.
No, it's life-changing.
It's everybody that went through the course says it.
The sentence that she said about she's feeling that we're bringing the Geula to the world. We were using words and we're using thoughts, and we're actually doing it. And each one of us also, not only the students, all of us are in the progress of to be Ligael. How you say it in English? To
Redemption, to be
redemption.
redemption.
When you say redemption, I think of Bob Marley. This is why this is my connections in my okay. So
Let my people
that's what people know.
um
If you know other people in your community that maybe this program will be good for them, we ask for your help to spread the rumor, to spread it in your communities. I don't know in which platform that you use, in Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever. Go to the local yard and start yelling with megaphone. No, I'm kidding, but actually, you're gonna help the Geulah. You're gonna help the people. Gonna be happier. People gonna be more connected, and hopefully gonna give the Mashiach a really great welcome with a lot of people that already think with consciousness, this Geulah consciousness. Thank you all very much to being with us. Uh, all of you that registered to this course, welcome to Elima. Welcome to this family. I hope you're gonna all gonna see you again in the 20th of February this
20th of
month.
February?
20th of February
Wow.
this month. Thank you very much for being in this broadcast, and thank you, Rabbi Steve.